Truth Frequency Radio Network. KTFRN. Worldwide.
Welcome, Shadowland Voyagers. In the spirit of sovereignty and self-empowerment, we invite you to journey with us into the Shadowland. Let's rediscover, reclaim, and integrate the fragmented aspects of our individual and collectively held consciousness. Realize true freedom and restore authentic expression. Could it be the only way out is through the Shadowland?
Good evening, everyone. This is Sienna Lea, and I'm here with Christina Grant and Elizabeth Hansen, and we are so excited to be here tonight to start our first episode of Shadowland Voyagers. It's been an amazing journey getting here, and I am so glad to announce this new space. This is a totally groundbreaking venture. I don't think anything like this has been done before, actually. And so I'm going to dive right in here, giving you an overview of why we're here, holding this space for you all. This is going to be a very interactive space. We're going to explore these topics together, and we have developed a forum we're going to tell you about soon, so that whatever's stimulated by this conversation, whatever comes up in you for processing or to make clear or to communicate or to be supported actually has a space that Christina has worked incredibly hard to make beautiful and glowing and loving and safe and friendly. We'll tell you all about that in a moment. So we are so honored to be here at Truth Frequency Radio Network. And we are incredibly grateful to Chris and Cherie for all the unbelievable effort and love and dedication and hard work to create the kind of space where this kind of show can actually exist. It touches us to the core of our being. And we invite you to come in and to relax and to take some deep breaths with us and just allow yourself to open to a new place in cyberspace that's been created for you, for your evolution, for your healing, for your growth, from our hearts to yours. So welcome to Shadowland Voyagers. So I'm going to read from the website, the mission, the vision, what we're here to do, and then I'm going to bring on the two beautiful ladies that are sharing this journey with us, and we're going to dive in to these topics. Shadowland Voyagers is a show that provides a platform for self-empowerment and responsibility by delving into the deep shadow self. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, we are getting some feedback, and I'm not sure why. Okay, I'm going to go on with this, with the statement of what we're doing here. Okay, good. Sounds good. Thank you, Chris. This is the journey. The future of humanity is calling us all in an awakening. And I know that's not news for you out there. But there is so much discussion now on how to reinvent our world within a new paradigm of sustainability, one that's truly humane, respectful of life, and harmonious with all that lives. To heed this call, we invite you to journey with us into the Shadowland. Hidden in the deep shadow self, we find the keys to unlock the energy, the structure, and the awareness needed to transcend the matrix of violence and control that has us gripped and has on this planet for thousands of years. Within our hearts, we make contact with our true authenticity and gain the knowledge and the ability to jumpstart the shift into a new reality. We are embarking on an unprecedented new adventure. All three of us ladies here at Shadowland Voyagers truly know within our deepest sensing that our ability to actually realize our dreams lies in our willingness to venture within and reintegrate all that has been lost, stolen, repressed, denied, and frustrated. Our inner truth has been manipulated for thousands of years. The outer massive dysfunction we are now exposing and experiencing is mirrored within each of our unclaimed essence. We carry a massive unseen potential within ourselves, and until we actually find a way to own it, we will unfortunately continue to act it out on the world stage. And we're going to break down how all of that is really playing out. But let me just give you this overview. And if it's overwhelming and it seems like so big, hang on, because that's why we're here. We're going to make this very personal and very user-friendly. That's the idea of holding this space for all of us together. So I'm giving you a big picture here. There is a gold hiding in the shadow, a treasure chest full of our true gifts and deepest dreams for creating a thriving existence. We are being called by life to reclaim our lost treasure, to reclaim our sovereignty and authentic beingness, which is the one thing the powers that were have made sure we run from with knee-jerk reaction. And so we have endured without recognizing the all-pervasive social conditioning and the programming. We've just succumbed to it. We've just been buckled under in so many ways without even knowing, doing all the very best things that we could to be the best boys and girls and men and women we could. And now we've found out that the civilization we tried so hard to support has been full of lies and motivated by greed and horrible destructivity and satanic forces. And here we all are meeting, wondering, what can I do? What can one little person do? But now the game is ending, and this massive cover-up and the manipulation that holds our authentic energy hostage is being revealed. We hold the power to unchain our hearts, unchain our minds, free our bodies, and burst forth to co-create a new paradigm with our sacred Mother Earth. Nothing is going to change much, however, until we take the voyage into the Shadowland, where so many of our lost pieces are still hidden even from ourselves. No matter how sincere our intentions are or how great our vision, how much we can see all the free energy and all the earth healing in every way we could transform the outer, it comes down to the fact that we also need to do the inside job to unlock our future and to set ourselves free. And this is why the three of us have come together to explore and to hold this space as a research forum for that work to be done, and for all of us to find a way to support each other in that work to be done. So we invite you to journey with us into this Shadowland, to find your keys to freedom, and not only for yourself, not only for us, but for the whole collective unconscious, because we are all in this together. All right. How did I do, ladies? Now, I'm on this show with Elizabeth. Beautiful Elizabeth. Are you with us?
I sure am. Thank you for announcing, and it's good to be here.
Ah, great. And Christina, are you still in the third dimension?
It looks like she might be having some connectivity problems, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So we're trying to get Christina back. This is always a challenge when we are moving our...
Let me see if I can get in touch with her really quick. Hold on.
Okay. So while you do that... Now, Christina has said that she's in a part of the universe that sometimes does drop off, and that we may we've counted on that this could happen. We could lose each other in the midst of this, which just makes it all the more of a creative challenge. So you keep doing that, and I'm going to tell you who this remarkable woman is, who we cannot get hold of.
Hey, Sienna, would you mind if I introduced you first?
Okay, we could do that. Are we still working on Christina? All right, yes.
Yeah.
Introduce me. Maybe they want to know, who is this woman who's been talking at them for the last 5 minutes?
Yeah. I wonder if we should give her a call, her phone number. But anyway, I think I'll introduce you and see if she doesn't come back online while we're doing that. And then maybe you can introduce the two of us in that way. Oh, she might be back online here.
Okay, let's keep moving forward, and hopefully we'll get Christina back, because she is a huge piece of this puzzle here.
She's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Where did she go?
We're going to work out our technical difficulties. This is our first run at this, and we're having some challenges, but please bear with us.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Chris is getting her back online, so that's excellent. He's trying to get her back onto the show. So somehow she just lost connection. So here she is. Okay, she's back online.
All right, then why don't you go ahead and read what you were going to, and we'll work with that in the background. Excellent.
Okay. Sienna Lea, M.A. in psychology, has lived everything written in her autobiographical book, Stealing the Moon. It tells the story of how she shed her victimhood and become an active seeker. Sienna searched for a humane cure to mental illness after being plunged into the mental health care system, but what she discovered went far beyond the labels of sick and well. Sienna courageously faced and unmasked battling forces that shaped both her inner and outer worlds. Her journey into the deep shadow self revealed shocking truths held in the collective denial for generations, enslaving the psyche of all humanity. Sienna completed her formal education, then went on to learn from life itself. Initially, she founded Stepping Stone, a center for human potential in California, after completing her internship at the Marin Center for Intensive Psychotherapy, where she trained as a primal therapist. She took the good from those methods while unmasking huge discrepancies, particularly in the primal scream method. Forging on, she learned to integrate innovative approaches and generally unlock human potential without creating further trauma. In the years that followed, her deepest answers came as she studied with her mentor, Miss Ayesha Love. For many years, Sienna resided outside the walls of a castle in Spain, learning, living, loving, and healing. Eventually, she found herself teaching others how to heal from the hidden agendas of dark forces buried from conscious awareness in the shadow self, and worked to untangle the noose tightened from within our collective enslavement. Sienna worked in New Zealand at a Kingsgate mental hospital as a psychologist, coming full circle from patient to doctor. She also worked at St. Luke's Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona, and found the field of energy medicine also proved to become a thread in her search for non-invasive healing. She administered advanced biofeedback frequency technology for pain and natural healing in a private practice, and developed techniques for helping people explore the deep shadow self. Sienna holds seminars and workshops, and has spoken on several talk radio shows. She is currently co-hosting a weekly that's us, right? Sienna senses the collective awakening has advanced to the point where humanity is ready to take a deeper look at the shadow we all carry. Hearing the call, she has entered the public arena in order to share her knowledge and experiences in assisting with the transformation of humanity with the Mother Earth. Welcome,
Thank
Sienna.
you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. How is that? We're doing good. We're getting through this.
Yeah.
I want to say something just to the audience that we're three women that are, we thought of this as our coming out party, as our launch party, because each one of us has taken a very deep journey in owning and integrating our own shadow selves. So this is not an academic exercise. These are three women who are doing this work and have been doing it alone largely, and found each other and are joining forces. And it's very exciting. It's very beautiful. It's also very intimidating and very frightening, and we'll go into that because as each one of us breaks our shackles and comes into our authentic energy, there's a huge amount of fear from all the lifetimes when so many horrible things happened to us and so much had to be overcome. And so I am so honored to be with these two ladies because they're being incredibly brave. I've had years of radio and theatrical experience, and they have literally been shadow diving on their own, and with their deep desire to communicate this to humanity are just winging it here with me. So a round of major applause to these beautiful goddesses that are holding this space for you and holding a space for me to come forth. And we're giving you the overview. We won't do this every time, but we want you to get a sense of who everyone is here. So I'm going to read about Christina now, Christina Grant. Christina Grant is a consummate Shadowland Voyager who brings a fresh perspective to this work with a dedication and passion born from a lifetime of experiences and truth-seeking. She is a woman of many talents and contributes greatly to the Shadowland team, helping to keep our ship on course with her clarity of focus and self-empowered position. Christina gives through long hours of diligent and focused work, as well as the Our Journey Home team, which is George Cavassalis' group, who we greatly love and respect, in addition to working part-time and being a dedicated mother and wife. Christina is realistic about what it takes to become an evolutionary woman and is learning to not shy away from speaking her truth. She innately understands radical self-empowerment and responsibility and is stepping up in her own unique way to the call of life. She is listening to what is needed to hold a neutral space for those ready for the next step of human evolution, and is helping to bridge an understanding of what it takes to integrate shadow aspects in the present moment. Christina is an up-and-coming spiritual midwife assisting others in birthing their authentic selves. Shadowland Voyage radio show and forum would most probably not exist without her, and we have a big thanks for her. She has designed the Shadowland Forum, which you can go to shadowlandforum.com and have tremendous interaction, conversation, and processing with the growing community there. That's going to be an integral part of this, and she spent huge amount of hours making that an incredibly beautiful and sacred space for you all. So thank you, Christina. Are you with us?
I am here. Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies.
Oh, wonderful. All right. So now, Christina, are you ready to introduce Elizabeth? And then we will dive into what is this Shadowland and why are we venturing into it anyway?
Absolutely. It would be a pleasure. Elizabeth Hansen is a lifelong spiritual seeker with a well-rounded understanding of the workings of life. She is dedicated and passionate about this work, having realized the importance and significance of identifying and integrating her own fragmented aspects. Elizabeth speaks from her heart and brings a unique perspective to this field. She holds a space of compassion for those ready to step up to a new level of personal responsibility and is well-versed in the awakening process. Elizabeth has known for about 20 years that a time would come when she would be called to share the wisdom gained from her experiences publicly, and is now coming forward with her newly found voice to help assist in the birthing of a new humanity. She knows what it means to be authentic and self-empowered and is an integral part of the Shadowland team. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's who we are. And now we're going to get this party started. Hello, ladies. We're all here. And yes. I apologize if I'm echoing and reverbing. I am in Ecuador, and we haven't figured out how to resolve this yet. So I may have to get into a UFO and go off planet to get something, which I'm somewhat reluctant to do. But whatever works. So, all right. Okay. So now let's just break it down a little bit, ladies. Let's talk about what on earth is Shadowland and why we would venture into it. And what is shadow work? Now, each of us has our own take on that, but we, in some way, all share the understanding that an essential part of how we've gotten to this place is by doing that kind of work. And it's David Icke talks about problem, reaction, solution. And so I was thinking, in a way, we are all, but he talks about it in terms of the powers that were, the one world order, the Illuminati folks creating problems, which they very much are. And then we, in our sheepleness, are creating a reaction. And then they step in with more and more control and the one world government and more enslavement as their solution. But there's, in terms of our shadow perspective, we wanted in the show to break down the sort of problem that we find ourselves in, and rather waiting for a sheeple reaction, which is the reactivity of our programmed reality, the reactivity that we are all, to greater and lesser degrees, habitually involved in, finding a different solution. We'll be right back with the Shadowland's interpretation, problem, reaction, solution. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So we are talking about how the construct has us programmed and how much of our authentic energy is held away from us in fragments in an unconscious state. And this is what we call the shadow self, are all the parts of ourselves, and not just dark and sinister parts of ourselves, although they're there, but also our golden shadow, the parts of our potential that have been taboo, have been demonized. We know that there have been so many control mechanisms put on all the authentic energy that we carry, our sensuality, our emotion, our connection to our higher selves, our intuition, our sexuality. Did I leave anything out?
Did you say
compassion?
Yeah. I mean, all of it has been considered evil, right?
Absolutely.
Bad.
But then there's things that are like our creativity that maybe, a parent or a teacher told us to not, stop drawing and get back to our math because that was important. I mean, so there's things that are hiding in the shadows that are, like you said, golden, and that we have, we sort of left them behind long ago, and we need to go in there and reclaim those as well.
Exactly. There are, in my working with women, and as we all have this experience in ourselves, we were talking about that earlier, Elizabeth, in the divine feminine aspects of our being in these, during the Great Burning, the Inquisition and the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages. If you demonstrated any real life force, any magical powers, which we know that the divine feminine have enormous magical powers, you were drowned, you were butchered, you were killed in the most horrible ways imaginable. You had to watch your children being raped and tortured. And, I mean, they didn't just kill you, but they created such an imprint in the soul memory that you would never come out again with the beauty of your light. And I have seen this so many times with some of the most amazingly powerful women who, as they actually contacted their female essence again, they would be shaking and unable to speak and unable to express because this memory was pounded into them with such huge, horrific trauma.
But we should mention that it's safe to speak now. It's time to come out of hiding, really, and share our voice and our wisdom with humanity, because this transformation is really requiring the feminine to step forward, because we
exactly now is the time, and we are the people, and the solution is within us. But the thing is that there are these two dualistic forces, because while we were hiding, something else grew in the place of us. And we can call that the construct. We can call that the mask, right? Mm-hmm. The mask. We can call that the false self. I've experienced in the research that we did when Aisha was alive, and we went really deep into exercises where people surfaced layers of the archetypes and the collective unconscious and their own personal unconscious, and their layers of false construct that are inlaid in us. And this is the real transformative work where we need to resculpt ourselves, because this inlaid artificial construct, just like in the Matrix movie, when Bill Smith, where they would give up their soul force and Bill Smith would come and live in them as them. Well, that's not a joke. That's not a fantasy in a Hollywood movie. That is reality. We all have a bit of Bill Smith in us, living in us, and we know that we're going to break down all the different ways that configures, because it's a deep topic, and we're going to have plenty of time to look with a much more focused periscope on that. But
and we all have the potential to be Neo as well.
Yes.
By removing those shadow aspects that are standing in the way and holding us back from our true potential and authenticity.
Right.
Yes, and these aren't just words. These are like real experiences that can come of looking inside of yourself every time there's a conflict or a rage or an anger or shame or guilt or insecurity or any of those kinds of emotions that hold a blockage. You know, these are the kinds of things. This is why we're going into that shadow land, because we want to reclaim those aspects, those deep aspects. And I'm telling you, the one that I reclaimed that was so huge was compassion. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of prided myself that I was so compassionate. And one day I realized that I was just telling someone to get over it, and wow, that when I saw that for what it was just looking. It's not that these things aren't going on all the time. It's that we don't take responsibility. I didn't look, but in this one divine moment, I looked and I saw, and I was like, wow, I absolutely felt nothing in that moment,
And that happens way too often. I mean,
yeah.
And we're, I'm wrestling with that now so much, because now, I've done, and I know we all have here on this show, done years of shadow work, but now the energy with the moving in alignment with galactic center and into this photon belt and the Pluto influence. I mean, I'm not an astrologer, but I know many of our listeners understand what's going on, and that these shadow aspects are hurling to the surface, and either we act because the love is returning, the divine feminine aspect is becoming so powerful, and it's just not going to let this stuff stand anymore. And so we are being hurled into a profound purification, and so whatever is standing in the way of life is in our face.
Absolutely.
But we don't even know what's going on most of the time.
Well, this is our opportunity. It comes up, and we can, like Elizabeth said, we can face it, and we can look at it, we can own it, we can embrace it, we can reintegrate it. And if we don't, they are going to get stronger and more intense. Believe me, it's true. It happened to me so many times. These shadow aspects will drag you down, and it's really your greater being. It's like you need to integrate these things. And so at some point, you are going to be faced with them. And if you do it willingly and on your own, and you decide to look into those places in yourself on your own, it is so much easier to integrate them. It's so much more gentle, because you can do it in that way with yourself. But if you leave it to life to throw you up against the wall and face it, you can go that way. Go for it. But I'm telling you,
it's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal because you just get into train wreck after train wreck, right?
Yeah.
Because when the ego, which is often in service of the dark forces, at this point, although we are not demonizing the ego, because we know we need to transmute the ego is not going away. The ego is not the problem. The ego is trying to help us, but it's just incapable of it. It's got deep contracts with the dark agendas. The ego's getting exposed now, big time in the external, and we can go, we can see it in Obama, hopefully. We can see it in the One World Order, hopefully, and we need to. And we're not minimalizing the need to awaken to what's going on in the outer. But it's very clever, The dark is stupid, because anything that is creating a war against creation is pretty bloody stupid. But it's clever. It's exceedingly clever and diligent and very hardworking, right?
Yes.
And it is managed, and the structure of how it's kept itself hidden so it can stay in control of us is quite brilliant, actually. You have to give the dark side.
Until you figure it out. Then when you understand how these shadow aspects reveal themselves, it's so easy to see then. I mean, it's game over once you figure out how it works, because you're like, I got this. So then, a shadow aspect comes up, the dark thinks it's got you, it found a weak spot, it found a trauma it can exploit. And I'm going, hey, thanks for showing me that, because that was hiding pretty, deep down in there, and I kind of forgot it was there until you pointed it out. I'll integrate that. Thank you very much. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the experience, for whatever happened with a person, with whatever it was, because it really helps to illuminate those things.
Well, I'll tell you something. As soon as I started to see the game that was going on, that I was being used for other agendas, let's just put it that way, once I saw that game and I was able to see where I had agreed to the game and why, from that moment on, in that space of integrity, it's as if divine doors opened up to me, access to higher intelligence, access to peaceful existence, that kind of thing. All that violence that I felt all the time rearing up whenever I thought, somebody was being offensive or whatnot. All of that stuff, it's like it just kind of fell to the wayside because I started to understand where other people were coming from to such a degree that it was impossible for me to be angry or have hate or any of those things, lack of compassion or any of those things, because I was in a completely different state, because I'm coming from a place of knowing that I am just as capable of doing whatever that person is doing. And in fact, what ended up happening is, well, there's a certain part I left out, but when an aspect is discovered in the darkness, what I realized was that was coming from a space of a child that felt unlovable and unloved, and so I had compassion for myself in that moment and gave love to myself in that past moment. And once that occurred, it's like the compassion and love just flowed through me with ease and grace. Anyone could throw any kind of energy in my direction, and it was just like an ease and grace, and the most appropriate possible response was available to me. And that is something that in the darkness I am not capable of accessing at all. I cannot fake that.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing I've noticed too, is as you integrate more of your own fragmented aspects, I find that I am more compassionate towards other people. It's like the more I have that within myself, the more I'm able to give that to others. It's really awesome because it just... my relationship with myself improves, my relationship with others improves, I'm less reactive, I'm more understanding, patient, and just knowing that, when people are acting in a certain way, they have a shadow aspect at play, just like we do. And so holding that space, instead of getting involved in it, in a sense, being not getting reactive with them.
Yeah, you're just not energetically drawn that way anymore. It changes the energetic cording, It has it resonates different when that kind of thing approaches you. It's really interesting to watch relationships now, especially ones from the past with family and stuff like that. So, but we're talking about the benefits of doing this work for anyone who's sitting here going, "Oh, a bunch of dark sisters," whatnot, looking at all the darkness. There is such a benefit. And, it sounds like a bunch of words, but from my heart to yours, what it feels like to discover retrieve and discover true aspects of your essence is, it's nearly indescribable with the language given to us to communicate.
Absolutely. It really absolutely.
And coming from where I came from, which is a very dark place, mind you, I went through quite a bit through my life, and especially the childhood was one of those that, people really, they cringe when they hear about it. So, I faced psychosis and all kinds of stuff, 9 months of isolation, you name it. And I really did think I was going crazy. And so when I tell you that there is a purpose that is divine in this work, and why we're bringing it out into the open with our voices that will be heard, is because there's such a value to all of us being here on Mother Earth at this time in an awakened state, and we must walk through the Shadowland to get there. So, and there may be other ways, I don't know, but I've tried every other way because I did not want to do this part. I thought if I looked there, I was going to die, just like Sienna was talking about. Don't you ever, speak your voice, don't ever sing your song. You will be killed. And I had past memory recall through that 9 months of isolation and darkness. And I have to tell you, I was burned to death at the stake with my whole family and all of the town watching. So, and I know what I did, and oh well, I was still going to say, what I said in a woman's Bible study. I said, "You are all God." I was burned at the stake. Wow. So wow. Yeah. So.
No, but absolutely, being able to express and operate from your authentic beingness is it's indescribable. It truly is the most wonderful thing that you can ever experience. Nothing feels better than that. And that's why I'm here. I'm just so passionate about this. And if I can just encourage and support and inspire people to just dive in there into their shadowland and reclaim that stuff, bring it back, because you will be so happy that you did. I mean, true happiness. My whole life, I remember every year birthday comes along, right? You make a birthday wish. My birthday wish, for as long as I can remember, was to be happy. To be happy every single year. Probably started that after my dad died when I was 7, but all I wanted was to be happy because I didn't truly feel happy. And 2011 was the first year I didn't wish to be happy. I got to wish for something frivolous. I forgot what it was now, but it was awesome. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to wish to be happy because I truly am, finally. You know, so, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. You know, it's so beautiful to hear you too. I just honor you so much for being brave enough to come forward with this, because I know how much resistance there is. Have you got your mics muted there, ladies? Make sure you do when you're not talking. Okay, good. And because what you're talking about is the unspeakable. Every social institution, every school, every church, every Boy Scout and Girl Scout camp, every institutionalized collective is a programmed group of people who are going to tell you that the way to survive is to give up that essence. And when you do, when you comply, when you obey, then you get the goodies that are in that collective. And when you don't, you are punished. And even though we are not often burnt at the stake in these horrific ways any longer, you pay a huge price for your authenticity. But as you're saying, we wouldn't have it any other way. But you have to experience this because we're addicted to the construct. We're addicted to we are a non-reality based society. We love our drugs. We love our denial. We love our escapism. Everything is there all of this technology is there to bring us out of ourselves, to escape into these transhuman agendas, to lose ourselves. Even the program of what falling in love is. It's like falling out of yourself into another person. There is so much to break down because we buy these agendas. And I see so many young people, and it's so sad and when you are so heartbroken because you're living in a loveless world that is pretending to be love, it takes a certain amount of huge pain and then awakening to recognize where we really are and what we've done to protect ourselves from that, and to say, you know what, I just can't live this way anymore. So I really applaud your courage in just saying the few simple things you just said, because that is huge bravery to come on a radio show that could be broadcast all around the world and to admit those things to other people that could create all kinds of havoc in your life, that you have just even stated that reality, because there is a war against authenticity. I mean, I'm not saying, again, you're going to get burnt at the stake. But at the same time, we're at this turning point, aren't we? I mean, this great blessing that everything's collapsing and breaking down. I mean, a lot of us are looking at it as a tragedy. Other people are jumping for joy, because until it broke down, we can't see all the great treasure that we've lost, that now we can retrieve, because the illusion is falling away.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's a really exciting time to be alive and on the planet. I'm just really fired up to be here.
We have to fit the through the eye of the needle.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
I got 2 arms in, got my shoulders through.
Squeeze.
Okay. I'm getting back to the problem. I want to break down the problem a little bit more. You girls are all way into the solution. I can't even keep up with you.
Well, can I just kind of want to generalize what shadow work is, just real quick.
Yeah, go there.
Okay, just because we hear that term so much, shadow work, and I don't know, there's probably a lot of, well, maybe there's some misconnotation with what it is, but basically it's just a really broad term. In my understanding, this is coming from my perspective. And there are numerous ways to go about this. I mean, there's so many different techniques, but basically the term is used to describe the process of identifying aspects that are out of alignment with our true self, that authentic part of our being, and they're energetic in nature, and they're typically, the result of traumas, belief systems, conditioning, programming, all the things you were talking about earlier, Sienna. But basically, it's just shadow work for me just simply means becoming and being consciously aware of your internal world in such a way as to bring those fragmented aspects into balance by integrating them within your heart. So that's simply put,
that's beautifully put, Christina. What we're talking about is the things that we keep hidden, even from ourselves. And that can be, we all have our different demons. If you read my book, Stealing the Moon, you'll know I was a very nasty, dark sister. I'm in recovery. I'm not saying I'm over it, but I'm working hard to be over it, okay? This is, I have to say, I sold out to the dark side. I was an agent of darkness, y'all, okay?
We all have been. That's the thing about it. No matter how love and light you think you are, we've all been it all. We've done it all. We've been it all. So it's all about bringing it back into balance.
Right. But first we have to see what it is. And that's the part where we have a little bit of a difference with the love and lighters, right? Because I know there's some of you out there that are into the secret and the intenders for the highest good. And I love you all because you all understand that we are the creators of this reality, and that what we put our intention in and what we put our thoughts and emotion in creates reality. That's true. But if there's a whole half of you that you refuse to face that's already creating a reality that you don't even want to look at, you can be intended until the cows come home, and it ain't going to break through because Mama knows the truth from jive. And she knows... And she's going, I don't think you're going to be getting that this week, sweetheart, because you aren't really, putting yourself through the eye of the needle. You aren't getting real with the deal.
It's like, hey, you forgot about this shadow aspect, didn't you? Bam!
Yeah, so instead of getting, your dream home and your BMW and that gorgeous young thing you want, I'm going to give you this. You're going to lose your house next week. Yeah. And we'll see how that rolls when you get in a really nasty mood and all that inner bitch shows up. Then I want you to transmute that energy. And then when that huge chunk of your chi aligns with your soul force and you're intending something that is in alignment with life, then she's going to let you have it. It's flowing to you, isn't it, Christina? Isn't it, Elizabeth? Aren't the things, the people, the love, the manifestation, aren't they flowing to you now? Were
Absolutely.
They flowing to you before?
No.
They were flowing to me.
Yeah, because what you bring into your, it is sort of a law of attraction in the sense that whatever you've got going on in your internal world, what's really going on in there, not what you pretend is going on, but what's really going on in there, that is exactly what is manifested in your outer world. So that's, yes, this is one of the huge benefits of integrating these shadow aspects, because as you come more into alignment with yourself, you then, you meet up with other people who are in that same frequency and have done that sort of work. Elizabeth, you're experiencing a lot of that as well right now.
Yeah, it's incredible actually. How, even just you calling me Christina and being on the radio show and being invited to be a part of this is all synchronistic, and the timing was impeccable. And I've been experiencing my heart's desires, basically, that I didn't even think mattered before. And all of a sudden, these opportunities are coming my way that are my heart's desire. Yeah.
See, I think do your shadow work, and you are going to thrive, because Mama, I call Mama the universal life force. We know that the feminine is life itself. Okay, the masculine. We adore the masculine, and this is the time when the masculine and the feminine, the war between the sexes, is going to end. And we're going to get it together in a way that we never could get it together before, because we're going to clean up all of this garbage. And we'll be right back and tell you just how to do that.
There's only one choice. To resist.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
Welcome back, Shadowland Voyagers. Your experience, perception, and questions are deeply appreciated here. Join the conversation. Call in at 213-233-3998 or 888-832-2027.
All right. So we were just going to explain how to get everything in your life by diving into the darkness.
Go get it.
Surprise! It isn't about diving into the light. The light will come. Own your darkness, y'all. Own your darkness. So, who are we? Who are we really? Are we really universal beings of light? Then why on earth would we be diving into our darkness? This is disgusting. I'm turning off this radio right now.
What are we promoting?
You girls are all crazy. Are you on drugs? What are you talking about
Not
here?
anymore.
You should be ashamed of yourself. You know that, don't you? I hope you're proud of yourselves coming on the show and talking about that horrible stuff about your parents.
Oh, I love it. No.
I don't know. I definitely know I'm crazy now that I'm doing a radio show with Sienna Lea.
I know. What were you thinking? God, you got to stop taking.
It's not my fault. It's my greater being.
Right?
It must be.
Whoop, whoop.
You must do this now.
Definitely felt the calling.
Talking about bringing the love of your life, getting all the money in the world, manifesting your true mission, destiny, and purpose by doing what?
Shadow work.
Integrating your shadow aspects.
Yeah, well, I don't have any shadow aspects. How dare you?
Well, you definitely have a false picture of self.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, sorry. Did I cross the line? Did I go too far?
It's a really nice mask you're wearing.
I think so.
Yeah,
This is my radio show, Elizabeth.
Does
Sorry.
that mask of yours have
You could
rhinestones on it?
What?
Does that mask you're wearing have rhinestones on it?
You made it pretty.
All right, but how do you know when a shadow aspect is happening? I mean, how do you know the difference between a shadow aspect and just a bad mood, a bad day? I mean, how do you know that difference between what's real and not?
All of the above.
Well, for me, I'm recognizing emotional responses. Any kind of conflict that I get into with another person. Well, I guess this is our break, our first show. We're not used to the breaks, so we're going to learn, catch you on the other side.
We'll talk about how do we recognize it.
Welcome back. Mute your mics.
Okay.
Yes. So, how do you recognize a shadow aspect at play?
I think I was going into how I recognize it is in any kind of a conflict or emotional response to anything that's going on. So if I'm in a conflict with a person, or even if the interaction leaves me in conflict inside later, sometimes you can think about things a little later and get all worked up or whatever. That tends to happen with me. And so I'm checking for emotional responses. So we've got fear, the feeling of being victimized, false emergencies, blame, anger, shame, guilt, self-pity, apathy, judgment, any of those kinds of things going on. Immediately, I have a choice at that moment. And that's when I kind of go inside into contemplation and take a bit of time to myself. So that's how I recognize the shadow aspect at play.
Yeah,
great.
Same for me. Absolutely. Emotional reactions for me are number one indicator. But dysfunctional patterns, if you're thinking, why does this always happen to me? That's a great indicator that you've got a shadow aspect playing out. That's why you keep bringing it back in. Avoidance and denial, blaming other people. That was like my favorite thing to do. It's not my fault. It's your fault. This is all about you. If you would have done that, then I wouldn't have this reaction. Well, no, hold on, because now that I have integrated whatever that, so many of those aspects, when that same thing happens again, guess what? I don't react. I'm like, chill. It doesn't really bother me. I'm like, I notice it's happening. So that person still has their behavior perhaps, but I no longer am reactive to it. I can just be very neutral and respond in a way that is, I don't go there. I don't need to. It's gone. That trigger is gone. So that's really important. And then destructive behaviors towards yourself or others, and justifying or defending your behavior. You know how many times I used to say, that's just the way I am. Sorry if you don't like it. Tough shit. That's a really great way to just keep your shadow aspect really happy and comfy.
What were you doing when you said that?
Oh, just probably being a bitch, like taking something personally that my husband did and turning it around and, just reacting to it, getting mad, and then blaming him for my reaction. So
sounds reasonable. Sounds reasonable to my shadow.
Exactly. That's I really want to make this shadow work thing just part of your daily routine. It's like you get up every day, you brush your teeth. It's like when you get up every day and you brush your teeth, how do you feel? Are you feeling funky? You got some residue from the day before or whatever? It's like, well, feel into that. Check it out. See where that's coming from. And like Elizabeth was saying, if you have an interaction with someone and you're left not feeling so great about it, well, just feel into it, move into it, embrace that that feeling, and don't just push it away and shove it back down, or go get yourself drunk or whatever to forget about it. I mean, that's just a great way to avoid your shadow. So,
well, you can do that for sure.
Oh yeah, you can.
I did it. I mean, I did it for years.
Yeah, me too.
So that was the.
But not anymore.
No, because it gets harder and harder and harder to resist.
Yeah,
to look. It gets harder to resist looking.
Mm-hmm. It becomes so natural to look.
Eventually, but it's completely unnatural to look initially.
Yes, exactly. That's why we're doing the show, is to just encourage, it's like, let's make it natural. Make it just part of life, your life. It's not something you do, twice a year. It's something you do every day. You're just being aware of how you're feeling inside and what's going on. Just being consciously aware of your interactions with people and how you're feeling. Day in and day out, all the time. Just, it's part of life.
Well, okay, now I'm going to play devil's advocate and tell me to back off if I'm getting too in your face here, Christina. But here's the deal. There's huge bennies for being aggressive, competitive, tough, pushy. The society I was raised in trained us to be suspicious of each other, and to go get me some, be number one, achieve, and that means push you out of the way. I mean, the Hunger Games, way down in there, it was me against everyone else, and I was going to have to win. I mean, these are deep programmings, and our egos are conditioned to see that the people that were really good at that really got the stuff, They were the rich people. They still are the rich people. So why should I do this shadow work? I mean, what's that going to get me when all the bennies out there are the dark ones, have all the money, don't they? I mean, how about them banksters? Maybe they should be doing webinars teaching us how to do that stuff, because they got everything.
Well, if that's everything to you, if money is what you want out of life, then
What I'm saying is that the knee-jerk reaction to be reactive, to be egoic, to be selfish, to be out service to self, to be to not be kind, to not be coming from the heart. These are all behaviors that over thousands and thousands of years have been rewarded. I'm just playing the devil advocate. Forgive me, Christina, I'm really not coming down on you at all for this. I'm just saying that because, it really was a quandary. Why am I like this? My God,
that's the thing.
And when we really find out how egoic we are, how pushy, how careless we step on each other, how we don't feel into each other's needs, how we are just on the track of getting our own, irregardless, and it's a knee-jerk, it's automatic. We're on automatic, so many of us. And look at just, the religious wars. More wars have been fought in the name of God than anything. And this has all been engineered by the dark, because, and I want to say this, because and I'll probably say it about 1 million times before we're done, because I know for me, I couldn't understand what are the benefits of me being this way. Why is it so deeply ingrained, and why am I so reluctant to let go of this? We've been in a very, very dark time when our authentic selves and the love in our hearts have been, there's been a war against love on this planet, and the ego has been rewarded. So, and I guess I'm saying this because there's a huge piece of self-love here. And there's a huge piece of why we don't want to face this. We don't want to face it because we feel that we'll become weak if we face it. We'll feel like we'll be vulnerable and unprotected, that we won't be able to survive. And okay.
Well, I just want to say that for most of my life, I had this protective wall up around me. And it made me feel falsely secure, made me feel protected, made me feel safe. And but it wasn't real. It was false. It was a false sense of security. And the more I broke down this wall, integrated these shadow aspects, these traumas, these belief systems and programs that I accepted, it's like the more I move this wall, the more naked I become and transparent, but the more free I feel, the more direct and authentic I can be with other people, the more I am truly empowered and responsible. It's like, I don't even have words for it. It's the most amazing feeling. And my life has moved ahead. I'm so much happier. My relationships are better. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Well, I have something to say. Sienna, you were talking about what about the people that are getting ahead in the world and have everything that they want and everything else and what it takes to actually get there. You basically walk on someone else's back, however, I saw the game and how to do it, but I wasn't conditioned in a way in this world that would allow me to take those kinds of steps to get ahead in the world. And I was side by side with them in the corporate world. I was side by side with, I would call them the power hungry, and I was conditioned for the other role. So, there are some people that are conditioned for some things and some people that are conditioned for other things. I just happened to be in the one that was, not, the conditioning was to have me stay poor and, work really, really hard, exceedingly hard, and to sit down, shut up, and do your job, and you've got to be here at this time, and, that kind of thing. And I was confronted by power-hungry people that, the way that they got where they were was to disempower everyone else. And so I fell into that category because I did not love myself, and I had no confidence, no voice, no fierceness, no drive. And quite frankly, I didn't care about money. I didn't care about getting ahead either. For me, it was just making ends meet, and I was just trying to figure out what I'm doing here. But I was definitely conditioned to be playing the role of the disempowered. So.
And I was, not so much in this lifetime, but in the Egyptian lifetime I talk about in the book, Stealing the Moon, I loved power. I was a power junkie. But it's the same game. Either it's the predatory part of the construct, or it's the victim part of the construct. They feed on each other in eternal feeding ground. So you were the victim, I was the predator. They're both equally disengaged from the authentic impulse to be connected to life in integrity and decency and harmony, because the life force wants us, the mother, the life itself wants us to manifest all the aspects. And if we're talking about the ascension process, however we are envisioning that, it's going to be people who are integrated, who have experienced all of these aspects, who are going to graduate from here.
Correct.
And work with all of these aspects. So we're not just talking about a kind of therapeutic women getting together and we want to get so empowered with ourselves and it's wonderful and lovely. And even though it is wonderful and lovely, there's an evolutionary call at a profound cosmic level ushering a integration, because the earth is wanting to ascend. This whole dimension of her is wanting an upgrade. This victim predatory, where everything's eating everything else, she's over it. Yep. But she's held it for billions of years, and she wants us to graduate with her. She wants us to ascend with her. And we're not going to do that in a false state of fragmented reality where we're in denial and we're serving the dark side, whether it's as a victim or a predator. That's just not going to fly.
You know, I was serving the dark side as a victim, so you know, and quite frankly, when you look at the life of a predator and what they have to face in their darkness, in some ways I'm glad I chose the role for this lifetime that I did. You know, I wouldn't want to. It's just the degree of pain is even more depth. There's more depth to it, and I do understand the depth. It's not that I don't understand the depth. It's primarily that, you know, we're always blaming the predator for victimizing, when in fact we're just playing roles for each other so that we can get this experience on Mother Earth as we're in a school. We're actually in the toughest school in the universe, you know, from what I've heard. So, and I feel that deeply. Actually, I think this is a really tough place to be. Yeah. So I'm at a loss for words from there.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, I was a predator, and I know. It's a horrific thing, and I encourage all the predators out there to know that the Mother loves us all equally, and that those are all aspects that we are having to move through, because if we do go on from here to create, if we in fact are universal creators of light that are going to go on to create universes, then this is the graduate course in what not to do, in terms of the darkness, in terms of the cruelty, the kind of cruelty. And yet, coming back from having abused people, coming back from being cruel or being out of control and being cruel, or, you know, those people now, even in the Illuminati. I mean, I know that many of them are so desensitized and so convoluted and so heavily embellished with entities and dark beings that the comeback is not in the near future. But I know that there are those who are really, really tired of it. And the sense of, oh my God, if I come clean and admit what I have done, I'm going to get crucified. Everyone will hate me. I can't admit this. And that is one of the huge traps of a dark sister or of the dark side, is how do you come clean? How do you make amends? What's going to happen if you face the level of cruelty? And that's a huge thing that we need to break down on this show.
Yes,
is how you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, girls, we have a caller on the line.
I saw that. How exciting. Our first call ever.
All right, I'm going to unmute this button. And Sienna, you want to take the call?
No, I want all of us to take the call.
Well, I mean, but you want to say hello. Here we go.
Hello. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Yep.
Hello.
How are you
Thank
tonight?
you for calling. Well, we're all kind of shaking in our boots here, but how are we doing?
Doing all right. I'm on a long drive home, and I just happened to catch a little bit of what you guys were saying. Trying to find out how can we get a good balance between the light and the dark, because it seems it's either one extreme. Well, when it comes to me, it seems like it's either one extreme or the other. Yeah. Can you break that down a little? Can you go into a little more detail for us so we can be more helpful for you? I mean, I could respond back with a generality of how you. Yeah. Well,
like
the old adage, that I've heard before, they say you can either have love or you can have money, but you can't have both. And that always seems to be the case with me. Every time I start doing well in my business, you know, the different aspects of my life suffer, and vice versa.
Yeah. So when you do you sense there are different aspects of yourself that are operating, that the loving part is in conflict with the part that's going after the money, that there are different uses? We'll be right back. Hang on. We will get to that. Thank you so much for calling.
Welcome back to Shadowland Voyagers. Looks like I might be... Is anyone else there?
I am here. I'm seeing if we have...
I've been chatting away very beautifully with my mic muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, do we have our caller? Okay, I think it's worth answering his question. That was a long break. He probably had to... Yeah, we're getting some feedback. You might want to mute. It's hard to answer that question. Yeah, are your mics muted?
Mine should be. Let's see.
Okay. I mean, how would you answer that? I would, it's like people say that, either you have money or you have love. And I sometimes think, boy, I'm getting big time feedback. Is your mic muted, Elizabeth?
Yes.
There is no feedback. Okay, good. Okay, I would answer that more with that these are the different aspects, possibly. I'd have to talk to him more in depth to really know, of this gentleman that when he's, because I've seen this, haven't you seen this with a lover or a partner or yourself, where, you're in a love story and you're opened up and you're vulnerable and more authentic parts are present, and then, Monday morning you're up and this other guy is there, right? It's a different guy. It's a different energy. So there isn't an integration, because I absolutely believe that we can have money and be authentic. I mean, we can absolutely thrive and be authentic. But we don't see that very much yet, because the ego, along with the construct, has been so dominant on the planet. That's what I would say. I don't know what the two of you, if you want to make any comments about that at all.
Yeah, I have some experience with that, actually. Back in the day, like I was talking about the corporate world, I saw this with particularly men kind of go through this. They have their work mask and then their home mask, or if they might be able to be authentic at home, but there is this conditioning that puts a drive on the man to go into that left brain structure, and the demands in that world leave very little room for inner growth. And anyone in the corporate world doing shadow diving, you're going to be pulled in two directions there. That's what I've seen, and it can very well be learned on the job, but there definitely needs to be some boundaries with your time and your energy. So that's what I've noticed with that.
Well, there are huge conditioning in the male, we know, to cut off sensitization to the needs and compassion of others, to be the breadwinner, to be strong, to be the man. We do horrible things, and the mothers of sons, we are serving the dominator culture in the way that we both indulge them in a narcissistic emotional immaturity, and then insist that they become these false little god dictators and warriors, so that we hone them into these roles. And it is not just the feminine that has lost her connection to herself, but it is the masculine that has had so much taken away from him as well. And it's still, we can say that there is nobody that cannot find their authentic self. I don't care where they are. I mean, some of our greatest, I think of Jim Carrey. Have you ever heard Jim Carrey talking about consciousness? I love Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are people in great power with millions working, that wake up. Anyone can wake up. And the spiritual imperative is to wake up, but doing it in the midst of a corporate reality, it's going to be hugely challenging because everything there would be pushing it all back down. Well, not everything. I can't say everything. Because remember, we're heading into this galactic alignment, and so all of our nervous systems, our entire field is getting recalibrated. And so aren't you finding awakened people in the most unbelievable places? Even in the workplace, everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because that newer energy is infiltrating the old structures. Definitely, that is happening. And people, the way I'm feeling about that whole thing is that people are actually going, what am I contributing to here? What am I actually doing? I mean, I know my boss says do your job and don't ask any questions, but once you've been there for a while, you start to understand. If you're anything like me, you want to know the whole workings of things. At least that's how I was. And I was like, what? How does this? What's the relationship between this thing that I do and this other thing that I do? And who's taking care of the rest? And how is that? How is this affecting the outcome of the project or whatever it was? And I started to see immoralities all over the place. Now, for me, when it got so rough that I saw slavery, that's what I saw. The place I worked for, they were doing mandatory extra 2 hours a day. Now, you're already there 9 hours because they don't pay you for lunch. An extra 2 hours a day mandatory for all people that are salaried. Now, that puts you at 11 hours of your day on the job because that 1 hour lunch, it isn't enough. At least it wasn't for me. I'm like, I need my breaks and I'm going to take them, even though there were times even that was like being requested. I was a bad employee if I took my break in that moment, even though I needed it desperately, This is the thing that is so just debilitating within that arena is that, there were times I was processing during that job and there is no room to do that on the job. However, I took it upon, I treated myself better than what they would have. I allowed for I'm just going to sit here for a minute and look like I'm doing work while I'm just zoning out because I need a break, But that world is kind of stealing more and more of people's time. And what I'm noticing is that people are starting to question the value of doing these things where they find out what they're doing is immoral. They're not providing a service like they said, and they're screwing their customers. What are you going to do when you find yourself contributing to that? And I'm telling you, if something goes wrong in that arena and say you get laid off or you can't go to work one more day, there is a reason. And life will take care of you if you're being integral inside. Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing that this man was asking is, see, the more you integrate these aspects, the more so when your inner world changes, your outer world changes. So you will find more harmony, less dysfunction. So you will find that maybe that job will disintegrate, basically, and a new opportunity will come along. So it's really just not worry about what's going on in the outer world. It's really about focusing on the inner world because everything on the outside will shift to suit. So,
and that doesn't mean that we don't focus on the outer world because we're strong proponents of activism. But we're talking about when we connect back to life, when we make the hookup, what is the authentic self? It's the self that's connected to the life force. It's that simple. And when that life is flowing through, it informs you about integrity. It informs you about compassion. It informs you about living in harmony with all people in this world. It informs you about living in harmony with the Great Mother, and not be destroying and vampirizing. It does not allow you to act in a way that is destructive with your own life or anyone else's. That's what we're talking about. Getting to the place where you make the hook, where you go through the Shadowland to disengage in what is opposed to life so that you are really connected. Then the inner will create, you will become a creative force manifesting those values. And then you shape the other. Yeah.
It informs the universe, and the universe literally will rearrange itself to suit.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what happens. It's absolutely amazing and magical and real. So, and what he's talking about, integrating, how do you go from, integrating the light and the dark? Well, the thing is, as you bring these together, what we're doing is kind of coming into a 0 point, into a balance between the two. It's not choosing one over the other. It's bringing them both together, bringing those halves back together so that they're whole again. And what you find when you do that is a whole lot of harmony and synchronicity with life around you.
Well, then we're moving into 5D. That's the initiation process into 5D.
Yep.
That's why we're going through the Shadowland, through the eye of to get to that place, to go with her, with the Mother, with our sacred Mother Earth, into the dimension that is that which is beyond duality. But you don't graduate outside of duality until you have learned every lesson. And that's what the Shadowland is learning the lessons of duality by becoming all the unlearned aspects of yourself that hold all of the final examination for that to occur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another way I like to look at it is owning your, can I say shit on the radio?
You can say whatever you want.
Owning your shit and turning it into fertilizer for growth. That's how I like to look at it.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there isn't a piece of that the mother condemns, or that the mother, there's not a piece of even the predator, the ego, all of it. It's all been fertilizer. It's all fertilizer. As horrible as it is, that's really hard to deal with. I still have trouble with it. I don't like the parts of me that are nasty. I don't like part of me loves them and keeps acting them out. A part of me just really, really, really doesn't like that. It's hard to accept that we are that. But yeah.
I'm sorry,
she holds
Sienna.
it all, right? Look at the mother holds it all. Look at all of the incredible crap and destruction and horror and desecration and pollution and tox. She holds it all. I mean, she's over it. I don't know how much longer she's holding it for. We may have another 10 minutes here. I'm not sure, but because I feel she's so weary of it. But like we've talked about before, the three of us, she seems to be holding it just a little bit longer till we get this.
I have some good news on that. I have some really good news about that. She was sick and tired of being sick and tired, about 2 years ago. And, it's been long coming, but, recently, I'd say in the last year, something has happened in humanity, and we are shifting our vibration with or without all of us. She's holding out because more than what was needed and more than what thought could ever be possible are waking up. Even if just to see where you are, just to wake up to where you are.
Awareness. The awareness is waking up. We still don't quite know what the heck to do with any of it, outer or inner, for the most part.
Yeah. But
the awareness, the veil is getting ripped off.
Yes,
and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That's why the three of us, and I'm sure others around the world, are coming forward. Do your shadow work. Okay. Now we're waking up. Now get her done. Let's go all the way with this. Let's not run away and be the love and lighters and just think that the whole thing, we're just going to experience liftoff and whippity-doo-dah. Mm-hmm. That'd be nice, If it would work, I'd be the first one on board. But I don't think it's working that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes left now, so I wanted to focus in. I'll let you finish that thought, and then I want to talk about our Shadowland Forum a little bit and what that is, because this is not going to be the blah, blah, blah radio show. We actually have an interactive component that Christina has worked herself to the bone to manifest in a gorgeous way that's going to allow...
We've done it together. Yeah.
But I wanted you to finish your thought, Elizabeth. I cut you off. No?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was muted. That mute button.
I know, it's tricky.
Yeah, I also took a swig of water, so. About Mother Earth and the end of the world and all of this stuff, I honestly feel that she is also purging some darkness inside of her as well. That's been my experience. And there has been, for a while there, she was, quite rightly, quite pissed, and that has passed. And I am feeling very much that, there is compassion and love, and I traveled through a spot on Mother Earth where there were hardly any human beings there, military, yes, but and she showed me where she was being damaged to bear witness to her pain, and she is transmuting these pains just as we are. So these are some interesting, exciting, good times ahead, but we're not going to be feeling that if we're defending ourselves, justifying inappropriate behaviors, or any of that stuff is not tolerated anymore. It just isn't. So just to get that out there into the public,
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And that's why we have been called, because we're all do our due diligence to connect to our higher selves and listen to the guidance we receive. And we're being called to hold a space for you all and ourselves as a research. We don't have all the answers. We feel actually very humble to even come out here and bring this topic out, even though we do have a lot of knowledge and wisdom and experience between the three of us. But mainly we are children of this earth who want to hold space, a loving, compassionate, and wise space for all of you and ourselves to make this transition. We're not here to beat you up, do your shadow work. No, we're here to actually midwife this process with you. And with that said, we have created the Shadowland Forum, www.shadowlandforum.com, where you can go and engage in any of the topics brought up by this show. There'll be a thread for each episode we do, but there's a number of topics all about shadow work and about the process of what is going on with the shift. There are many, many topics, and there are some. We are being very adamant about holding a beautiful, non-judgmental, loving, unconditionally loving space for each other and supporting each other, creating a support field, a loving field, but a truth field as well. And we're not going to tolerate anything else in the forum, but it's there. And I have just been moved to tears by what is already happening in that forum. So I invite you all to go there, www.shadowlandforum.com, because the show and the forum are going to work in synergy together. And that's our gift to you all and to ourselves, because in doing this work, we're also transmuting shadow aspects, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is that each of us have a different piece of this gigantic puzzle. And we have a different perspective, and we each have a different journey. And so this space is really for you to share your voice, to connect with others who are waking up to their authentic beingness, and support that in each other, and just have a place to be safe, and to explore, like Sienna said, these topics.
And we are interacting there. We're not just leaving you all to interact together. I am interacting there. Christina is interacting there on a daily basis. We are reading this. We're not just leaving you all in cyberspace somewhere. Elizabeth is coming on to the forum. We really want to show up, because that's part of how we're transmuting our shadow, is by serving in this way, by giving in this way, in an authentic way. And so it's a circle that we're all going to participate in, and that we're inviting you to join with us in.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you.
So,
well, I guess we're about closing down here in a couple minutes. How much longer do we have? 5 minutes?
I could read that little thing. Okay, so I have something about the true self here, y'all. So sit back, take a deep breath. You're off the hook. We ain't going to talk no more about predators or victims. Well, kind of. And come back next week and bring your friends because we want to keep this party going.
Yeah, and we're going to have guests too. We're not just going to be here talking, the three of us, the whole time. So
no, we are going to bring, We're going to bring some great people who've done some serious research into shadow. We're going to have. I hope we're going to have some great minds and great hearts to keep this topic going because there are people all around the world that understand to do this. So it's going to be really exciting.
And even if they don't consider their work to be shadow work, if they're exposing hidden agendas and all of this sort of things we've been talking about, then that is shadow work, and we want to get them on. We want to hear what they have to say and share that with y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, that's a good call.
I actually I don't even know who wrote this, but it so resonated with me. I want to share it with you. I will be quick, and if we music me out at the end, come back next week, and we will keep this party going.
Well, I just want to say real quick if the music starts that this song going out tonight is to my lovely co-hosts and all of the women who are stepping out at this time. We have a lot to celebrate, so that's what this song is about. But anyways, go ahead, Sienna.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. You did hours of work finding the music that was right for the show. I love you both.
She said it's a surprise.
A surprise song. Cool. It's fun. It's celebratory. Cool. Anyways, okay, go ahead, Sienna.
Cool. All right. Well, this is just darn depressing what I'm going to say right now, so we're going to need that song. Okay. When we give our power away, we barely notice because it's a conditioned response, a part of how we were raised in a pattern that has been passed down to us. So it's encouraged and regarded as acceptable. So when one feels repressed, controlled, insecure, or dependent is where we most focus our attention and, in a sense, fight back and dismantle the programming. This is why it shows up, to tell us something isn't right. The deep underworld aspects of self are the parts of ourselves that many have lost touch with. They are the aspects that long to come up to the surface with all its intensity, strength, and wisdom. These aspects show up for us when we need to defend ourselves, when we are passionate, and when our passion is unleashed, or our inner truth erupts, destroying anything that stands in the way. It is the genuine self that cannot handle control or repression because nothing can stop it. It goes far deeper than ego, but one must move through the layers of ego to get to it. It is about the soulful depths that remember its true origins. It bursts forth when we feel pushed, shoved, angry, or disappointed, so that we do something and honor our soul and stand up for what we value most. Only true change can happen when we speak from these depths, rather than acting out and being childish. It is a good sign that you are being true to yourself and you refuse to give your power away when you are comfortable with this deep place. This is why the cosmos is giving us. This is what it needs us to do. Rise and shine and refuse to submit to anything but what the deepest part of you seeks and longs for. It is our dark, fertile soul that emanates our light, that the controllers have scared us away from and have caused us to fear. And that is how they have managed to repress and have power over so many. So now it's time to overthrow them.
That's right. Woohoo!
That's right. And free. There you go. See you next week. Enjoy.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.